Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki. All the assembled devotees ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you so much everyone for coming. We're reading today from Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto. Okay, I'll read Sanskrit and you can just repeat line by line. Nishamya Shaptam Atad Arham Narendram.
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 Sabrahmano Natmajam Abhyanantat. Sabrahmano Natmajam Abhyanandat. Aho Batam Ho Mahad Adyate Kritam. Aho Batam Ho Mahad Adyate Kritam. Aho Batam Ho Mahad Adyate Kritam. Alpi Yasidroha Ururda Mudri Dritaha. Alpi Yasidroha Ururda Mudrita. Nishamya Shaptam Atadarham Narendram. Sabrahmano Natmajam Abhyanandat. Aho Batam Ho Mahad Adyate Kritam. Alpi Yasidroha Ururda Mudrita. Nishamya Shaptam Atadarham Narendram. Sabrahmano Natmajam Abhyanandat. Aho Batam Ho Mahad Adyate Kritam. Alpi Yasidroha Ururda Mudrita.
Nishamya Shaptam Atadarham Narendram.
Nishamya Shaptam Atadarham Narendram.
Sabrahmano Natmajam Abhyanandat.
Sabrahmano Natmajam Abhyanandat.
Aho Batam Ho Mahad Adyate Kritam.
Aho Batam Ho Mahad Adyate Kritam.
Alpi Yasidro Ururda Mudrita.
Alpi Yasidroha Ururda Mudrita.
Nishamya Saptam Atad Arham Narendram.
Nishamya Shaptam Atad Arham Narendram.
Sabrahmano Natmajam Abhyanandat.
Sabrahmano Natmajam Abhyanandat.
Aho Batam Ho Mahad Adyate Kritam.
Aho Batam Ho Mahad Adyate Kritam.
Alpi Yasidroha Ururda Mudrita.
Alpi Yasidroha Ururda Mudrita. Nishamya, after hearing. Shaptam, cursed. Atat Arham, never to be condemned. Nara Indram, unto the king, best of humankind. Saha, that. Brahmana Rishi. Na, not. Atmajam, his own son. Abhyanandat, congratulated. Aho, alas. Bata, distressing. Amha, since. Mahat, great. Adya, today. Te, yourself. Kritam, performed. Alpiyasi,
Alpiyasi,
insignificant.
insignificant.
Drohe,
Drohe,
offense. Uruhu,
Guru,
very great.
very great.
Damaha,
Dhamma,
punishment. Vrittaha,
Ritaha,
awarded.
avoid.
Okay, let's see. If I want to say in Sanskrit that someone congratulated someone, what would I say? Congratulated.
Abhiyananda,
That's right. What about after hearing?
Nishamya,
Okay, let's see. If I want to say his own son,
Atmajam,
not Hindi, Sanskrit. Okay, good, you listen. Translation. The father heard from his son that the king had been cursed, although he should never have been condemned, for he was the best among all human beings. The rishi did not congratulate his son, but on the contrary began to repent, saying, Alas, what a great sinful act was performed by my son. He was awarded heavy punishment for an insignificant offense. Purport. The king is the best of all human beings. He is the representative of God, and he is never to be condemned for any of his actions. In other words, the king can do no wrong. The king may order hanging of a culprit son of a Brahmana, but he does not become sinful for killing a Brahmana. Even if there is something wrong with the king, he is never to be condemned. A medical practitioner may kill a patient by mistaken treatment, but such a killer is never condemned to death. So what to speak of a good and pious king like Maharaj Parikshit? In the Vedic way of life, the king is trained to become a Raja Rishi, or a great saint, although he is ruling as a king. It is the king only by whose good government the citizens can live peacefully and without any fear. The Raja Rishis would manage their kingdoms so nicely and piously that their subjects would respect them as if they were the Lord. That is the instruction of the Vedas. The king is called Narendra, or the best amongst the human beings. How then could a king like Maharaj Parikshit be condemned by an inexperienced, puffed-up son of a Brahmana, even though he had attained the powers of a qualified Brahmana? Since Shamika Rishi was an experienced, good Brahmana, he did not approve of the actions of his condemned son. He began to lament for all that his son had done. The king was beyond the jurisdiction of curses as a general rule. And what to speak of a good king like Maharaj Parikshit? The offense of the king was most insignificant, and his being condemned to death was certainly a very great sin for Shringi. Therefore, Rishi Shamika regretted the whole incident. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakavitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. I'll read translation again. The father heard from his son that the king had been cursed, although he should never have been condemned, for he was the best amongst all human beings. The rishi did not congratulate his son, but on the contrary began to repent, saying, "Alas, what a great sinful act was performed by my son." He was awarded heavy punishment for an insignificant offense. First, I'd like to ask for blessings for all the assembled devotees here. May I speak something in line with Shastra and beneficial for everyone. So, story continues. We come into the point when Maharaj Parikshit started hearing Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and all these verses are very instructive, and this one especially, right? Because here we see the reaction of the father of Shringi, right? Before we could see only, what King Parikshit was doing, and then what Shringi was doing, what he repented, all this. But Shamika Rishi, he was still in trance, right? But here we can see that his reaction, right? And basically when he just woke up from his trance, right, he threw the snake away and he didn't really care about anything else. It actually shows the greatness of his father, of Shringi's father, and how he uses his powers, right? He must be much more powerful than his son, right? But he understands the value of that, and his son, even though he has all these powers, he doesn't really understand what he's done. So there are two ways, two paths how we can deal with any situation of life, and this is a very great example. I'm sure you heard about Shreyas and Preyas. So basically, I need to see. So Preyas basically means it's when somebody acts just according to his senses and desires without really any thinking, just to satisfy the senses, and usually it's done right away. And Shreyas, right, it's when we use our intelligence to see how our actions, what our actions can lead to, right? And even though maybe we desire different things, but we don't act on that, right? Or maybe we feel different things, but we don't act on that, right? And why? Because we have understanding of that in the future it will give much better result than right now, right? And it says that a human form of life, right? It's, we do the same thing what animals do, right? Sleeping, eating, mating, defending, right? But we have this choice. We can really choose, right? And also, only in human form of life you can acquire karma. Usually, animals, whatever they do, they don't really, accumulate any karma, right? Because it's just, they already using whatever they've done in their past life. This is, this is their karma, but they don't accumulate more of karma. But for human beings, it's not like that. And everything is recorded. So karma is very complicated, but we have to understand that through so many lifetimes, what we've been living in a human form of body, everything is recorded, right? I think Bhaktivatsala yesterday said that in previous ages, even your thoughts were, you could get very bad reaction on your thoughts, right? Right now, fortunately, it's not like that, right? So even though, if it's not necessarily you getting reactions for your thoughts, right? But we see from Bhagavad Gita that your thoughts lead to action. And if you don't know how to control your mind, you will get some kind of karmic reactions, but for your actions. So it's very important to control the mind. And this karma accumulates for every action, but not only for action. Well, action can be so many different things. Everything you see, right? Where are all these samskaras coming from, right? Because you've seen something, and it just, it's like a photography in your impression, right? Impression in your mind, and sometimes you remember about that, but sometimes you don't. But you still have to pay for that, And good or bad, it's still karma. It's still material. We're still, responsible for everything what we see, everything what we hear, everything what you do, everything what you smell, because there is a different kinds of remembrances going on in the body, right? And in subtle body also, not only in a physical body, but in a subtle body. That's why sometimes, people react so much on, different like memories, deja vu, all these things. But for devotees of Krishna, it says that they don't really have karma. And the same usually regular material life, right? Everything what person does, it's recorded in karma. But for devotees, it's actually good news because everything is recorded by Krishna, right? So he sees everything, every small thing, right? That's why it says that nothing goes in vain. And even so, there is this is spiritual bank account. You cannot withdraw from that right now, but you can put there more and more and more. And the more you acquire these things, right? The more they are, more possibility for you in a future lives, right? To if there are future lives, if you don't, get in this life, to really attain to Krishna and serve him eternally. Don't come back here. And so this, you see, like Shreyas, for example, right? It's not necessarily when we have all the time this choice how to act, right? Be kind of in Shreyas mood and Preyas mood, whether you want to get something just right now, and I don't know what's going to happen if I don't get it right now, right? And this is basically we just satisfy our senses and our desires, right? And it doesn't really mean that, it will bring anything good or anything bad. But when we understand that at some point we have to, wait for something. There is a saying also, but for all good things, you have to wait, right? Really, the best thing really don't come just like this, They come like that, they go like this, right? And so, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says also in 18th chapter, when he gives this conclusion, that there are, for example, happiness, right, also can be, three modes, right, of material nature. And these three modes of material nature, it's actually really, really, it goes along with how we react, right, whether it's goodness, passion, or ignorance. And it's a very nice example that happiness in the mode of goodness, right? Basically, it means that you have to wait and tolerate so many things, right? First, it's like a poison, but at the end it becomes nectar, right? This is a very good example of Shreyas, how we, because we also, when you're in the mode of goodness, right, you understand that, maybe this thing is not exactly good for me because it's just reaction of my senses, right, and my desires. And happiness in the mode of passion, it's when you really, it comes as I need to read it. I have a verse. We have very nice Bhagavad Gita. Okay, let's see. Happiness in mode of passion, right? It says that happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be of the nature of passion. And the happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance. That's nice. Happiness from sleep. Appear to be in a mode of ignorance, right? And mode of passion, right? Basically, this is what we see most of the times when we act, right? We act in the mode of passion, and we just want something really badly, and we just get it. But we don't think about really what's going to happen next. And most of the times, it's only this kind of passion, right? Mode. It's only in your mind. Your mind will tell you that you'll be enjoy this mango, you will enjoy whatever, right, things. Or even, this is a good example, right? But even when yesterday we were talking about anger, right? Also, your false ego enjoying a lot, right? When you try to prove that yes, I'm right, you're wrong, right? This is false ego, and we try to satisfy this false ego just this moment, right? We don't think about what's going to happen next and how it will hurt person, how it will hurt, us. But as we heard that, anger really doesn't help anybody, like anybody. Even if you win, you don't really win, because you have all these bad emotions which destroys your subtle body and your physical even body, right? And so it's good to use intelligence. As we were talking yesterday, if you don't have your intelligence, for some reason, it can happen very easily when senses are very strong. Use somebody else's intelligence, person who you trust and who you really, can tell. And usually it needs to be a person from outside the situation, who is completely, averse to anything what's going on, right? And let's see. So this is a very good example, right? Who is acting how, right? Shringi is acting in this Shreyas, but he's like representing this, right? But Shaunaka Rishi, right? He knows what's going to happen, and he is experienced Brahmana, and when his son told him, right? Basically, he told him what he had done, right? He wasn't really happy, and because he could understand what's going to happen. But actually, the king, he was the one who was protecting them. He was protecting Brahmanas, because, he was only one who would just keep Kali outside of normal saintly life, right? And he understood that he will die soon, and everything will be really gone. But Shringi couldn't understand that, right? It was a reaction, right? He saw his father, got insulted. And also it's interesting how we see things, right? We try to save people sometimes, right? We try to help without their asking for that, right? But actually, in their view, situation can be not maybe that bad, or maybe they don't have any kind of bad emotions toward person, right? But other person who tries to help makes things even worse sometimes. Well, intention is good, right? But the action is not really. And so Maharaj Parikshit, he was protecting the Brahmanas. Also it says that it's very, about how human life, right? All this, if you really think about prayers, right? When we have to use our intelligence and we don't have to get whatever we want right now. It is an austerity, right? It's austerity for our senses, austerity for ourselves. And it says that human life is meant for austerity. This is actually difference between animal life and human life, that we meant for austerities. And I was listening to this nice lecture of Radhanath Swami yesterday, and he said that how to really, what is this austerity, what is this tapasya, right? And he gave this verse from Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and he said that we have to accept whatever favorable for our devotional service and reject whatever is unfavorable for our devotional service, right? And this is actually real austerity, because through your intelligence, right, we have to cultivate our intelligence more to understand what is good, what is bad, and act accordingly. But in real life, we see that actually we like things which is unfavorable for devotional service, right? Like people go to movies, right? All these different things, but they don't understand that it's all, polluted. It's polluting the consciousness. He gave this nice example, very funny. Like devotees, they're like, this bhajan is nice, yes, these kirtans are so nice, yeah, but, I need to keep balance. I need some kind of karmic activities, because it's too much. The way he was saying it was really funny. And this is sometimes how we think, that, we actually become tired from our devotional service. But if we really understand what devotional service is, right? Like our soul going through who knows how many lifetimes, how many species of life, all over the universe, everywhere, 3 different worlds, right? And then we get a chance, to get this human form of body, right? And imagine we don't use it, right, for cultivating God consciousness, right? We don't use it for austerities. We just do whatever we want, right? Or even, sometimes there is consciousness when we don't want to do something, right? Even devotional service, if okay, I'm going to do it if nobody else will do it, right? This kind of attitude sometimes comes, right? But if only we could understand that, only because this devotional service, you are able to stay alive in Krishna consciousness. Only because of that. Only because the mercy of someone who asks you, right, can you please mop the floor? Or can you, cook something, right, for devotees? Or can you play mridanga? Can you do this, right? This is actually mercy of devotees. Because usually, devotees are very humble. They're not gonna, if devotees could, if one devotee could do everything simultaneously, like for example, play mridanga, play kartals, right, play harmonium. I don't think he would ask someone to, kind of help him. But they're very, very merciful. They won't engage everyone into devotional service. Even I remember I had a very nice Sankirtan partner, and we always would carry these big bags with us, right, with the books. And subway street, and sometimes there is no elevators, right? And it's really heavy. And she would ask everyone, every person, to help with this bag, because he's getting mercy, right? And actually, it went so far that even when she was walking, right, it was on a wheel, and then if she rolled over somebody's feet, right, she's like, oh, this is actually mercy. This is Balaram's mercy on that person. So it's, devotees are that merciful that they're ready to give, this opportunity to everyone. But, well, you see there is and actually when we just kind of come into Krishna consciousness, we really appreciate that, right? Because, it's like, oh, I'm nobody, but then, they ask me to do that, and then, oh my God, they ask me to do Pujari bag service, right? And I'm like, oh my God, this is just, end of my life, the most amazing thing in my life. But then it becomes, more kind of, we're taking for granted, right? And then even these things like, going on an altar, right? Embracing the deities, oh no, Prabhu, Mataji, I'm a little bit busy today. Yeah, maybe next time. So it's just, it's interesting how it works, right? But if only we could understand, if only we could feel it every moment, how it is important to really accept this opportunity, any kind of opportunity. Because we always think kind of, oh yeah, maybe, it's somebody else can do it, right? We start choosing between these things, right? But it's not exactly the right thing to do, to choose. Yeah, because, even devotees have this false ego, right? That I'm already someone, right? Why I have to do this if I can do this, right? I'm already someone, but when you just come, you're kind of nobody, right? And then you're really, really happy to get any kind of service. Yeah. So it's nice to cultivate this service attitude all the time, no matter what, no matter where you are. And also there is nice tendency, I don't know why it's like that, when you go into another temple, right? You're ready to do any kind of service. If you notice, I don't know, I've noticed it myself, right? But in your own temple, right, you just kind of, yeah, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. We could do more, right? But sometimes we just like, oh. Anyway, I'm speaking from myself. Don't wanna, talk about anybody else. So, you have any kind of questions or reflections, thoughts on this point? Yeah. Also, it's very nice when I was just thinking about this anger yesterday a lot. And because it's really, it's, you don't want to have it really, but for some reason it's there, right? And then, I listened to lecture, and it was said there that, these three modes of nature, it's completely related to that, right? Why you become even angry, right? You cannot really become angry in mode of goodness. Nobody really becomes angry in mode of goodness, when people they blissful, right? You can't make this person angry, whatever you do, right? But usually it's when this mode of ignorance comes. It's actually very interesting. We can identify it right away. Because sometimes like, oh yeah, I'm in mode of goodness, I'm reading, I'm chanting, but then you become angry out of nowhere. It means that, it's not mode of goodness anymore. Whatever you want to justify it with, And these modes, they are all the time changing in us. All the time, right? But one moment you can be really, everything is nice, I'm surrendering, yes, I don't need anything. And then next moment, I'll keep some of these things. Yeah, I'm not ready to renounce everything yet, right? And these modes are coming, and it's very important to really identify them and do something. And you see Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that we have to really go beyond these modes, right? Because even mode of goodness, it's, you get attached to the good life. And we have to go beyond these modes, and His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he said that I could never understand kind of, when there's certain in words, right? But how to do it in practice, how you can go beyond, because even, you have to transcend them. But how you transcend them? Okay, I'm chanting, I'm reading, but still, you can feel it, different kind of things. Sometimes you can really, you can read, chant whole day, right? But another day, you just cannot even, mode of passion comes, right? And you cannot even concentrate that, your mind goes there, your eyes goes there, you hear different things, but you never hear, right? We have this, what is this, construction everywhere, right? And at some point, it's impossible to read, isn't it? You just kind of, okay, so many different noises, right? But another day you don't care about this. Nothing changes from outside, but changes inside, right? And you're really in this mode of goodness, and you really don't care. You can even go on the roof, where it's really noisy. But you're so observed, right, that you are able to understand everything and to read, because you are able to concentrate, right, to kind of get into this mode of goodness. And to transcend even mode of goodness, Maharaj said, very, very simple thing. All genius are simple, we just have to be steady. When we're steady in our devotional service, you become basically, you transcend these modes. You just don't react on them, right? But for this we have to also really identify what we have in us, right? Because it also needs to be done with intelligence. Because if your mind goes everywhere, right, you cannot just force yourself to read, because you want to be able to understand. You have to really exchange these thoughts with something, right? Kind of trick your mind like that. Yes, and and very important thing, that actually by this behavior, right, how to, coming back to this phrase and praise, to give very good example, which is, everyone is following someone, everyone, all the people, we just are like that, right? We have to have, example, good or bad, and Bhagavad Gita says, still can't remember this word, yat, what is it? Yat acharya says tat evataro janaha sayam pramanam kurote lokastam anuvartate. Yes, basically that, whatever great men do, common men follow. And it's very important. So when sometimes people don't even teach, they don't give lectures, they don't give any kind of, classes, seminars, right? But they teach by their behavior. They teach by their behavior. It's really amazing that, we just find the right person, right? Who you want to be like when you grow up in Krishna consciousness. So, and again, it's mentors, right? So ask your mentors. Okay. Anything else? Anything, at least? Okay, thank you so much for kind attention. Śhrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, all the assembled devotees ki, Jai.
Divyāngī-devī Dāsī ki.
Jai. All glories to Mahaguru Maharaj.